All greater down to 239.44, which, excuse me, is to be expected. Open Line Friday, callers have a little bit more chance of getting on the air if they wish, can talk about things that not necessarily in the news today, although I have a sneaking suspicion that most of what's going to be on your mind today will be the events of yesterday and the dovetail with the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal. My friends, I'll tell you, the problem here that I think everybody in America is having is that we all hate terrorists. We all despise them. And it is welcome. I think any effort to rid the world of terrorists is welcome and supportable. But, it just... And it's not just me, and it's not just you. Mike, I want you to grab cuts 2 and 3. Let me just play for you yesterday a couple of sound bites, reporters asking some newsmakers some questions. First up is an unidentified reporter asking a question of the independent counsel, Kenneth Starr.
Have you seen the movie Wag the Dog?
I guess I can comment. Yes, I have seen that.
In light of recent
No, I'm not. But other than that, I'm not going to comment.
Okay. Yesterday, then, at the Pentagon, the Secretary of Defense, William Cohen, was at a briefing right after the bombing, and this occurred.
Some Americans are going to say this bears a striking resemblance to Wag the Dog. 2 questions. Have you seen the movie? And second, how do you respond to people who think that?
The only motivation driving this action today was our absolute obligation to protect the American people from terrorist activities. That is the sole motivation. No other consideration has been involved.
Cohen was visibly angry at the question. Folks, the point is, it's not whether this is a wag the dog scenario. The point is that it's being asked. The point is that people all over this country consider it a possibility, given what has occurred just this week alone. Now, there are many of us who would have asked the question without Monday night's speech. But Monday night's speech is causing many Americans who otherwise wouldn't have asked the question to themselves ask the question. What you have here, again, at the very least, is an illustration that what goes on in a president's private life does indeed have relevance and impact in the president's governance, in his public life. There are all sorts of persuasive arguments being made today by people on both sides. You have the Speaker of the House, Newt Gingrich, and Jesse Helms of the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, and Orrin Hatch, who've been out front and have said, let us join with the president on this. This is a noble cause. Suspend all this scandal talk. Let's not get into this wag the dog business. The Speaker said the president called him, told him it was going to happen before it happened. The Speaker is totally confident that this is entirely legitimate, not spawned as a distraction or a diversion. Senator Dan Coates, on the other hand, a Republican senator from Indiana who has been on record as calling for the president's resignation, is extremely doubtful and suspects that the timing here is such that we should doubt the legitimacy of the mission. There are a lot of people who have written both ways, both sides of this today. Rich Galen, who runs GOPAC, has sent out a memo to America's talk show hosts. And since I am America's talk show host, I got a memo, and this memo from GOPAC is all about, it's advising America's talk show hosts. So let me just read the last paragraph. This is a time to put our nation's interests ahead of our political concerns. I'm asking you to help your listeners, your friends, and your associates to look at this situation with the sober eyes it deserves. The president is known for his ability to compartmentalize events around him. The American people are pretty good at that, too. We have the ability to line up behind the president on this action without forgetting what happened on Monday night or forgetting what has happened over the past 6 years. Now, it's clear that many in the Republican leadership are hoping that the support for the president carries the day here as opposed to those who are suspicious of the timing of all this. Let me now read to you from today's Washington Times editorial. May we compare Mr. Clinton's behavior to his reaction when the 2 embassies were actually bombed August 7th? Now, at the time, he was in Aspen, Colorado, fundraising and golfing. He certainly didn't feel a need to break off his trip or his reaction when the Capitol Hill shootings took place on July 24th. At that time, Mr. Clinton was fundraising in the South. He did agree to shorten his trip by a day to be home for the memorial services. Or think back to the beginning of the NATO bombing campaign against the Serbs in Bosnia in August of '95, the largest bombing campaign of his career. In fact, the largest bombing campaign in Europe since World War II. Unlike the Strike Thursday, that campaign even involved airplanes with pilots. And at the time, Mr. Clinton was vacationing with his family in Jackson Hole, Wyoming. He displayed no urgency to return to Washington. No, that was quite a show Thursday for all the news coverage of Mr. Clinton, the names Ken Starr, blah, 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 blah. Also, they go on to point out that the president's speech yesterday lasted for 9 minutes, more than twice as long as his mea sorta culpa speech on Monday night. They are, at the Washington Times, highly suspicious. There have been others who have pointed out that after years of delegating all the responsibility in the world when it comes to foreign policy, we didn't even inform them here. That is a salient point. The President of the United States in other foreign policy arenas with such legitimate enemies as Saddam Hussein has either backed off and done nothing. Madeleine Albright even last week suspended the investigation of the weapons manufacturing plants in Baghdad and surrounding environs. And we've always deferred to the United Nations. But here today, yesterday, there was no deference to the United Nations. There is, let's just put it this way, there is a substantial difference in behavior that can be noted. Now, whether it means anything is up for grabs. It's up for the American people to decide. And the reason why all these questions exist, the reason why there's such a disparate view of this, or many disparate views of this, is because of the character of the President of the United States and the fact of his now admitting that he lied to the American people, not just once when he wagged his finger at us, but for 7 months he lied and allowed everybody around him to lie. And because he allowed everybody around him to lie, the Secretary of Defense and the National Security Advisor and everybody else, even Ken Starr is getting questions about, is this a wag the dog scenario? We were hearing people say, look, this Osama bin Laden, and by the way, his name probably actually is Osama bin Scaife. Osama bin Scaife has been around for a long time. Used to be one of our buddies, worth $300 million. You know that? This guy is rich Republican. This guy probably in line for huge tax breaks if the Republicans win the White House. He's holed up in Afghanistan. And it's sort of like, from what I've been able to learn, sort of like David Koresh of the Branch Davidians. The guy was easily nabbable at the grocery store. We could have slapped a subpoena on the guy, interviewed him, put him in chains, handcuffs, and walked him downtown to the nearest cops or police station and interviewed him. But no, we went in there and blew up their compound with everybody inside it. Well, apparently we've been able to nab this Osama bin Scaife character anytime we wanted. He's been staying in some of the finest hotels in New York City in recent years. And we've known what an evil, mean character he was, but rather than go after him, we've launched a couple of attacks. I mean, there's all sorts of points here that can be raised that will, no doubt, create suspicion and doubt in people's minds. And this is exactly what you get, and this is the kind of thing that people like me, and I hate to be, I told you so, but it's not just me, I've been talking about the need for character in the White House, for trust and believability, for exactly these kinds of reasons. Let me take a break and come back. I have even more questions to ask you about this. Maybe you've not made up your mind, but I have some more questions to ask to help you formulate your opinion if you haven't done so already, and we'll talk to you about it as well as the program unfolds today. You're listening to the Rush Limbaugh program, Open Line Friday on the EIB Network, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Say, folks, how would you like to experience a state-of-the-art hydro massage without leaving your home, simply by stepping out on your patio or deck? Think Hot Springs Spa. The warm, swirling waters soothe the sore muscles of your back, your neck, your shoulders, and feet, and they leave you relaxed, refreshed, and rejuvenated. Hot Spring Spas are equipped with an advanced system of hydromassage jets, including the patented exclusive Moto Massage Jet. Now imagine a warm stream of water sweeping up and down the entire length of your back. And by the way, Hot Spring Spas is proud to be a sponsor of the National Arthritis Foundation. My friends, Hot Spring Spas are easy to install and are built to last. They even offer an optional chlorine-free water care system. So if you're looking for a great way to relax or share fun times with friends or family members, you need a Hot Spring Spa. Now, to find your local Hot Spring Spa dealer, call 1-800-299-RUSH or visit them on the web, www.hotspring.com. Call today. That's 800-299-RUSH. Hot Spring Spas, built for a lifetime of relaxation.
Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Oh. Do you have a love-hate relationship with your computer?
Windows application error. Oh, goody.
Then you need First Aid from Cybermedia. First Aid is easy-to-use software that fixes tens of thousands of computer problems automatically for fewer crashes, more love, and less hate.
Oh, no.
First Aid, the cure for what ails your computer. Available at Staples.
It's hard to stop a trade because every Trade XL 1200 Weathertron heat pump is designed, tested, and manufactured to last. Call your CP&L quality heat pump dealer, E.T. Farrell & Son of Mount Olive, and save on this heat pump. The Trade XL 1200 will run for years regardless of the weather. The compressor and coil are covered by Trane's 10-year manufacturer's limited warranty, plus 2 years on all parts and labor. Call E.T. Farrell & Son of Mount Olive, serving eastern North Carolina for over 50 years, 658-2971.
Yeah, just one taste is all. That's all it takes.
And McCall's Barbecue and Seafood in Goldsboro. McCall's specializes in Oakwood cooked barbecue pork cooked daily. We do chicken and seafood the way you like it. Don't forget our famous country buffet every day from 11 a.m. till 9 p.m. We've got something special for everyone. Open 11 to 9, 7 days a week. McCall's Barbecue and Seafood, Highway 70 East and 111 intersection Goldsboro, and now open in Morehead City and Highway 70 East.
Just one taste, all that it takes. That's all it takes.
Okay, we know you want a great price and low payments on your next automobile purchase. We can do that. And on any given day, you'll hear all about the interest rates, payments, lease plans, and rebates. So we're not going to go there. Just some simple talk, okay? You see, for over 76 years, people in eastern North Carolina have been saying Scott Motor Company for their automobiles. Need a great automobile? Say Scott. Want a great selection? Say Scott. Need value, service, and a dealer you can really trust? Just say Scott. 2 words. Say Scott. Simple, right? Here's the deal. If you're in the market to buy a new or used Pontiac, Buick, or GMC truck this month, say Scott, Scott Motor Company. And when you leave, not only will you say Scott, you'll say, "Great Scott, what a deal I got." Scott Motor Company is located on Highway 70 Bypass in Goldsboro. Or give us a call at 1-800-951-SCOTT. And not only will you say Scott, you'll say, "Great Scott, what a deal I got." Simple, right?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to this, the Rush Limbaugh program on the EIB network. We are suspending our discussion of intern-assisted masturbation for the time being for a discussion on the bombings yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, the anti-terrorist strikes in Afghanistan and the Sudan. Casper Weinberger, the former Secretary of Defense, was on our St. Louis affiliate today, KMOX. And he said that we knew all the information. We had all the information that the president cited yesterday, 3 days after the embassies were bombed. We had all that information 3 days after the embassy bombings, which were 2 weeks ago. And that as a result, the Secretary of Defense is questioning the timing of these strikes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let me say something here factually and at the outset. We are not a nation at war. right now. Not technically, because we do not have additional fighting forces overseas. Where we are at the moment is more like where we were after our token volley of cruise missiles fired on Iraq last year, when we fired our salvos at empty office buildings on a weekend, killing some janitors in Baghdad. It's more like that rather than Desert Storm. Now, you could say that we've started a war, because everybody knows that terrorists don't just sit around and take this stuff. They will fight back, if there are any left after this. I mean, the hope was we get rid of 600 of them at once, because there's a big conclave of Osama bin Laden's pals. We're hoping to wipe them all out in that one strike. We don't know yet the success of that. But it will lead to tighter security at airports and that sort of thing. But we're being asked to choose wag the dog or a legitimate national interest. In fact, that'll probably be, if I have my prediction hat on correctly, if you watch PMS NBC this afternoon during John Gibson's show called Chat Talk Chat Back, whatever it is, it's 5 o'clock. They always do this sort of question, and they take calls and so forth. It's probably going to be wag the dog or a legitimate national interest. Now, when the President of the United States addresses the nation, looks the country in the eye, and delivers a message, we accept what he says as forthright, prudent, and honest. We do. I mean, we always have. So why are we being asked to choose wag the dog or a legitimate national interest? Maybe, and we may be asking the question of ourselves. And there's another question. Beyond wag the dog or a legitimate national interest, why yesterday? Well, as usual, my friends, the responsibility falls on my broad, willing shoulders. The responsibility to put this in perspective for the rest of the nation. And my perspective is this. This is not a war. This is a strike of, 70, 75 cruise missiles, which, by the way, cost $1 million each. So in about an hour and a half yesterday, we spent almost twice what Ken Starr has spent in 4 years. Just a little aside. Now, you know how the White House spinners say that the Clinton scandals are nothing like Watergate? Well, let me assure you, this is nothing like Desert Storm. It's more like, as I say, the token strike against Baghdad. Here's the question. According to reports, and now Cap Weinberger with his comments on KMOX in St. Louis today. According to reports, the president knew about these strikes, knew we were going to do this, before he left for Martha's Vineyard on vacation. So why did he go to Martha's Vineyard in the first place? So as to not tip off the attack? That's what's being, well, they wanted to mount a real surprise attack here. I mean, what better way to make these terrorists think nothing was going on if the president goes to vacation to take his lumps with his wife? Now, he goes to Martha's Vineyard, so why does he come back from Martha's Vineyard? If it was that important that he had to come back from Martha's Vineyard, why didn't he have Al Gore come back from Hawaii, put up a joint front here? After all, Al Gore's under a cloud that could lead to resignation or impeachment as well. In case you missed this, and it didn't come up much yesterday, but Justice Department investigators have obtained a November 1995 White House memo with handwritten notations that appear to contradict vice perpetrator Al Gore's account of his fundraising phone calls during the re-election campaign. Now, the officials would not describe the notations on the memo in detail, but they said they've been written by an unidentified senior aide to the vice perpetrator. And the notations on the memo indicate that at a meeting on November 21st of 95, Al Gore and several campaign officials discussed how a slice of large contributions raised by the vice perpetrator to be used only for general party purposes would and could be diverted to what are known as hard money accounts to directly finance the Clinton-Gore re-election effort. Soft money, limitless. Give as much as you want. Got to go to the party. The party then doles it out as they see fit. Hard money, specific contributions to a campaign. There is a $1,000 per person limit. How do we get beyond that? So this memo is all about how they prepare to launder the money. And it's because of this memo that Attorney General Janet El Reno is this close. I got my fingers about a quarter of an inch apart to naming an independent counsel now to look into all this. So Al Gore could have benefited a little bit here in stature if he'd have been called back from Hawaii, but he wasn't. So it's just a lot of things about this that raise serious questions. And you can ask those serious questions and support the effort at the same time. Now, there are some other questions I have. We didn't send any troops, but the composition of our military, especially combat forces, is a matter of controversy ever since the administration took office. Now, when you're going to launch cruise missile, I assume there's a button somewhere that says fire. And you push that button that says fire, and voila, the cruise missile at $1 million a pop is launched. We don't know how many of those fire buttons were pressed by men and how many were pressed by women. And we don't know the ethnic or racial breakdown of the fire button pressers. For example, we don't know how many blacks, we don't know how many Hispanics, we don't know how many gays. Don't ask, don't tell. And it would be helpful to know so that we would know if there was diversity in this attack. We also don't know the evidence, ladies and gentlemen. We don't know the nature of the evidence, the damage, or details of the alleged imminent threat. We've been given an overview. We will probably never know how much the timing was affected by politics. Now, I know what some of you are saying. Come on, Rush, are you nuts? Do you think the president would do something like that to distract from his failing presidency? Oh, my friends, that's for you to decide. That's for all of us as American citizens to decide. But look, let me help you out. We do know that the president rescheduled his China trip. He moved it up 6 months. Supposed to go in November. He went in June. Why? To distract from the then scheduled Paula Jones trial. So a foreign policy trip to China was rescheduled for political reasons. I have more questions when we get back. Getting a good night's sleep is next to impossible if you're having trouble breathing through your nose. If that's your problem, you need to use Breathe Right nasal strips when you go to bed. Breathe Right strips will gently and instantly pull open your nasal passages so you can breathe easier. As a result, you sleep better without using drugs. Breathe Right, sleep tight. You'll find Breathe Right strips in the cough and cold section of your favorite store. Try them tonight, ladies and gentlemen. They work. You'll be amazed.
It's time for a look at local news. I'm Thomas Vick on 1150 WGBR. Groundbreaking for the new Spring Creek Elementary School. Ceremonies for the new $7.8 million facility were held yesterday. The new school will be built just off St. John's Church Road. A design meeting for the new proposed Highway 117 North. It's coming up next Tuesday night as State Secretary Norris Tolson will visit Wayne County to meet with residents about the new project. The meeting will be held at the Wayne Community College Learning Center. Questions have been raised about the widening of the corridor from a 4-lane road to a limited access freeway. The meeting was organized by Dr. Bill Plummer and James Crone, both who live on Salem Church Road. While student enrollment continues to climb in Wayne County Public Schools, school administration is providing some temporary help at Norwayne Middle School to help relieve overcrowding. They're sending 2 mobile classrooms to the school's campus. School administration says a mobile classroom possibly will go to Northwest Elementary School and Grantham School within the next 2 weeks. A slow day of sales on the Goldsboro tobacco market yesterday, capping off what local warehouse owners call a slow week. Yesterday, the market sold 403,874 pounds. Total revenue of the market for the day, $669,296.36. Yesterday's average closed at $165.72 per 100 pounds. For the week, the market sold 2.1 million pounds, with weekly revenues hitting the $3.5 million mark. The seasonal daily average is now at $161.34 per 100 pounds. More news regarding the Deuce River. A second House committee taking a final look at rules that would govern woodland buffers along the river and its tributaries. House leaders say a few changes must be made before they give their approval. The current legislation proposes to loosen current rules that require a 30-foot wide woodland buffer be maintained along all the streams that form the Deuce River Basin in an effort to reduce nitrogen runoff. Among the changes the House is looking to make, provide exemptions for property owners along streams that do not not flow all year long if they drained less than 25 acres. Republicans have sought changes to the current rules for some time now because they say the laws now in place are hard to enforce and interpret.
This bump. This will be the last time. Verve, the name of the group. I've always loved strings, ladies and gentlemen. Oh. Holly Ridge strings, Mount of Honey. Love them. Yo-yo strings. It's Open Line Friday, 1-800-282-2882, El Rushbo. And again, I remind you, we are suspending our discussion temporarily of intern-assisted masturbation to discuss the strike against Osama bin Laden. By the way, the president wore a red power tie yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, during his Oval Bedroom address at 5:30, and we don't know if there was a message in that tie or not. I only bring this up. Would you just hang on a minute? Don't get on me for this. I'm just trying to tie the dots together here, connect the dots. I mean, I got to stay on the cutting edge. I mean, this is relevant news. The New York Times front page story earlier this week on the significance of the president's cravats. Now, I saw in the newspaper today that President wore a dark suit, white shirt, and red tie, and some wardrobe consultant, and I think this is in the New York Post, it could have been the Daily News, actually suggested that it was, red's a power tie, it sends a message of power, it sends a message of authority and so forth. Looks military. You got the dark suit, the black suit, the white shirt, and the red tie. There's no messing around with Bill on this one. Don't mess with Bill. Leave him alone. Marvelettes, 1963, I believe. So the question is, ladies and gentlemen, do you think the president would do something like this to distract from his failing presidencies? And I just remind you, and I present these questions to you so you can ultimately make up your own fertile mind. We do know that the president rescheduled his trip to China. He moved it up 6 months in order to distract from the then scheduled Paula Jones trial. We do know that the president is on television often with a new initiative. Can't remember, well, I remember the tobacco initiative, but I can't remember the others, but they all have to do with our children. We do know that the attack was set to go last Wednesday. By set to go, was ready. We knew, we had everything. We knew it was ready to go. We knew the information. We had it ready to go 5 days before his grand jury appearance. The same 5 days before his non-apology apology. The only thing that is perhaps not accurate about that is that we wanted to wait for this conclave of terrorists. They were meeting yesterday. We wanted to wipe them out with one flail swoop. And we also know that the president left Washington with an overkill photo op. The president and his wife separated by Chelsea, all three holding hands, led by Buddy the dog. First they went to Marine One, the helicopter, then to Air Force One, and he knew then he was going to do this. He knew then that the departure was designed to make it look like he was interrupting his vacation to get back to business. Didn't it look that way? Going to interrupt his vacation to get back to business. And we also know that the vice president was not called back from his vacation. The final analysis that I'd like to offer, the final point that I would like to make about this, ladies and gentlemen, is really what is all the fuss about? In truth, none of this is any of our business. What? No, I'm dead serious about this. None of this is our business. Where was he when he ordered the military strike? That's right, he was in Martha's Vineyard. What was he doing in Martha's Vineyard? He was on vacation. He was reading novels. He's out there playing golf. He was patching things up with Hillary. What does all that mean? It was private time. Ladies and gentlemen, he was on vacation. He was on his private time, on his vacation, with his family. This is none of our business. Haven't we learned that over the course of the past 6 months? That whatever the president does in his private life doesn't matter? And do you know the president of the United States launched these 70 cruise missiles while on vacation? It's none of our business. I ought to suspend discussion about this. I ought to not take one phone call about it, because we are prying into his private life, which is none of our business. We have to assume that the people he ordered to hit those fire buttons on those missiles, we have to think they consented. We have to assume that they agreed with it. We don't think there was any harassment involved. We would like to know the racial and ethnic makeup of the fire button pressers. We'd like to know the sexual makeup. We'd like to know the diversity quotient. We may never get that. But we do know that there was consent. It was a consensual launch during private time. I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, what business is it of ours? Now, one other thing. I don't know. I haven't been able to log on to the Los Angeles Times website today because every time I try, I get a dialog box back which says something, it can't connect now, try again later, or the path is interrupted or whatever. But I do, last night I got a heads up on what was coming on the front page of the Los Angeles Times. And it was a story about, it's the second time I heard it. Yesterday afternoon, we heard MSNBC's Claire Shipman reported that the president's aides were saying that he was distracted all day Sunday during his preparation for his grand jury testimony, and distracted during his testimony because he knew the attack was imminent. And he was distracted by it, and it might explain why he appeared the way he did on television Monday night during the no apology speech. Well, the LA Times today has a story saying that his lawyers couldn't figure something out. His warriors couldn't figure out why the president, over the weekend, during these heated planned strategy sessions for his grand jury appearance on Monday, was so distracted. But as the LA Times today, I think, reported, now they know. So you had MSNBC and the LA Times reporting that in one case, the president's loyal and trusty aides and the president's loyal and trusty warriors were all perplexed. He was distracted. He didn't seem himself. But they didn't know anything about the attack because that was public time and there hadn't been any consent. He hadn't discussed it with them. So they say now they understand why he was so distracted during his grand jury appearance on Monday, why he was so distracted during grand jury appearance preparation on Sunday, and why he appeared out of sorts and not himself during his speech to America on Monday night. It was this launch of the 70 cruise missiles against the terrorists led by Osama bin Laden. Wait a minute, I have a problem with that, my friends. I'm sorry to be such a cynic here, but for the past 6 years, the very same people, the president's warriors and the president's aides, have been telling us about this remarkable ability to compartmentalize that he has. They say it's stunning and an incredible sight to behold. This man can just compartmentalize. He put things in boxes and one doesn't distract from the other, but yet just something cracked over the weekend, and the idea that this launch was going to happen, that about some people were going to hit buttons with the word fire on them and launch some cruise missiles. But again, $1 million a pop, $75 million in an hour and a half, far more than Ken Starr spent, almost twice what Starr spent in 4 years. And because those guys were women, as we assume there were some Hispanics, females, blacks, and gays that were going to hit those buttons, we have to assume that that was such a distracting thing that the remarkable presidential feat of compartmentalization just was not doable this past weekend. So there you have it. There, my friends, from my broad shoulders to your incredible minds, the on-the-spot analysis. Time now for you to tell me what you think about it. I've given you as much input as I possibly can. Time for you now to tell us what's on your mind as we'll take a break and come back with phone calls. I also have, we will eventually today return. Keep in mind, our first hour every day is broadcast worldwide on the Armed Forces Network, Armed Forces Radio TV Network. So the Armed Forces around the world, we're proud of this, hear this program. But we will eventually, on this day, Open Line Friday, get back to our usual subject, that being intern-assisted suicide. And I have prepared another conversation with Marta last night. We got to talking about some things, and I prepared a monologue to deliver based on that discussion that I'm very excited to give, and this is a very serious one. So that's coming up on the program, as well as some other news. We'll hope to get to it. All that yours, only moments away. Now time for that promised commercial break. We'll get back to your phone calls in just a moment.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Millions of young people across the country are packing up and heading off to institutions of higher learning. And what better gift to give your favorite student than a Bose Wave radio? So pick up that phone and call 1-800-625-BOSE and order a Wave radio. It makes total sense. It's compact, about the size of a collegiate dictionary. You can easily plug in a VCR, CD player, or TV set. Throw in 6 AM and 6 FM presets, and you have the complete entertainment package that any budding scholar needs. Just imagine the look on the faces of roommates and neighbors when they hear a Bose Wave radio for the first time and this program on it. I guarantee they haven't heard bass like this on a radio before. The Bose Wave radio makes everything sound great. So call today, 1-800-625-BOSE, and order a Bose Wave radio. You can also take 6 months to pay for it. And on top of that, you get a 30-day in-home trial. So call today, 1-800-625-BOSE. That's 800-625-BOSE.
Where can you see hard-to-find handcrafted items like quilts, woodwork, ceramics, lampshades, and other decorative items? This weekend at Berkeley Mall. Don't miss the Berkeley Mall Arts and Crafts Show. See the talented vendors displaying their items, plus take advantage of the great buys mall-wide in all the wonderful stores at Berkeley Mall. The Berkeley Mall Arts and Crafts Show, this Friday through Sunday at Berkeley Mall during regular mall hours. Shop in style at Berkeley Mall, Berkeley Boulevard, Goldsboro. It's coming Thursday, September 10th, The Great Outdoors, a special edition in your Goldsboro News Argus. This premiere special edition will feature tips on hunting, fishing, camping, and other outdoor activities. What bait and reel to use are just one of the benefits of this extraordinary opportunity. For complete details, call your Goldsboro News Argus at 778-2211 before Tuesday, September 1st, and ask about the Great Outdoors. The special edition coming to your Goldsboro News Argus on September 10th.
A 38-year-old single mother working 2 jobs so she can raise her kids in a decent neighborhood. A 26-year-old drug dealer, a new neighbor, looking for new customers. At stake, her children. Whose side are you on? You can help the community organizations that can help her. Call us at 1-888-544-KIDS or online at kidscampaigns.org. We're fighting for the children. Whose side are you on?
A message from the Coalition for America's Children and the Ad Council.
At 18, there was money for me to go to college, and for my brothers and sisters when they were ready to go. Thanks to my mom and dad, and to U.S. savings bonds, which is why I use some of every paycheck to buy U.S. savings bonds for our kids' college education.
If college is in your child's future, make U.S. savings bonds part of your present. Get them where you work or bank.
Rockin' America, U.S. savings bond.
Broadcast engineer Mike Mamone has just reminded me of something, ladies and gentlemen, I think is very important, and that is the president's attire yesterday. And look, don't blame me for this. I don't bring this stuff up. I didn't report this story in the New York Times about the tie, the Monica connection, but it's out there now. We have it on authority that the president uses ties to communicate to people. So if it happens once, I mean, you got to consider it. We've had all these noted wardrobe and fashion experts say that a red tie is a symbol of power. It sends a powerful message, especially when worn with a navy or black suit and a white shirt. But I was reminded by Mr. Mamone, the broadcast engineer, that Charles Rangel, ranking Democrat on the House Ways and Means Committee from Harlem, once said that, and it was not that long ago, only a few years ago, that the new uniform of the modern Ku Klux Klan is dark suits, white shirts, and red tie. And they also talk of tax cuts. He said it. My friends, I'm not even amplifying any. I'm not even exaggerating. That's exactly what he said. So according to Charles Rangel, the president yesterday was dressed up in the modern role of the KKK. I have to report it to you. I'm sorry. Here is Tim in Norfolk, Virginia. Tim, I'm glad you called. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Rush. Mega Dittos from Norfolk.
Thank you.
Hey, I wanted to just bring up the point. I'm in the Navy, and yesterday afternoon when we found out that we conducted these strikes on Sudan and Afghanistan, there was a really overwhelming round of cheer for the president. And I'm sure you're aware that most people in the military are very conservative, and especially recently, most of the people I work with anyway, we've been, pretty unhappy with the president.
Yes.
But yesterday, I think we all felt pretty much to a man that regardless of any other considerations, the president did the right thing yesterday.
You think it's a general consensus, military-wide?
I would think so. Yes, sir.
What are your thoughts on reprisals by these terrorists? Because you know what, Tim, I'll tell you something. What this really means is that we have now, it's possible that we've started a war with these guys based on what the administration said yesterday. They said, look, this is the first of many, and the reason they're not going to give us any details about this particular attack is that they don't want to tip their hands about future attacks, which, by the way, I'm all for. I thought it was a joke during the Gulf War that the press demanded to know everything that had happened. How many sorties? What kind of weapons? What were the targets? Did you hit them? And then they want to know, okay, when are you launching another strike? What are the targets going to be? I'm all for the military keeping all this stuff close to the vest, but do you agree that we've, in essence, now put into motion here what could be an escalation of, I mean, we already are at war with these people. They're blowing up our buildings here. You agree this is an escalation of a war that already does exist?
Well, I believe that the best defense is a good offense.
Yes.
And I think if we can take these clowns out, and I hope to God we got that guy yesterday.
Well, they're saying today, now, and you would expect them to say this, but I think from Afghanistan, they are saying that he was 200 miles away, wasn't there. He lives and thrives and survives.
Oh, that's too bad. I hadn't heard that yet.
Well, but they could just be saying it. I mean, they're not. We don't know. The bottom line is we don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think we ought to take the offensive. I mean, why should we sit around and wait for our citizens or our property, our interests to be damaged in any way? Lives lost. I think we should take the fight to them. Show them what the true meaning of terror is for a change.
Thank you, Tim, very much. Appreciate your thoughts. Sharon in Orange, California. You're next on Open Line Friday. Hello.
Mega first-time caller dittos from Orange County, Rush.
Thank you very much.
I have tried and tried and tried so many times to get through, and I'm just really thrilled today.
Well, here you are.
I want to address the cynicism that is just running rampant all across the country right now, especially. I just feel that we've been taught by the masters for 6 years, and more intensively for the past 7 months. These people are just so expert at what they do. This Clinton folly in the Oval Office was polled in January, and the American public was just in no mood to be very forgiving of a thing like that. And so,
hold on, what are we talking about here, Sharon? I've lost you.
The polling that was done about Clinton making an apology, coming clean with this whole thing back in January when it first reared its ugly head. And the polling was done, and the polls came back saying no, this would not play in Peoria, so to speak. So you can't.
You're talking
do it.
about Dick Morris's
Yes.
story. Okay.
Yes, and others. I mean, he has, all these.
Wait, are you going to comment about the military strike, or are you going to talk about Monica?
Well, it gets to the military strike. So 7 months, we've been dragged through this, all the money that was spent, all the trauma that this country has been through, and the vilification of Ken Starr. And now the polling tells him, okay, send the spinmeisters out there, do your work, let's lull everybody, the Clinton sex defenders, basically. The dumbing down of decency, and so now they poll and find out that it's worked. Now it's time. You can make your apology.
Okay, could I ask you to get to the military point here, because time is rapidly evaporating.
Okay. We're hearing the just let it go mantra, so that's worked, okay. Now they're wanting to know why we should be cynical about the timing of this bombing. They just can't understand why we would think that it was a wag the dog scenario. But they have instilled in us this cynicism.
Okay,
They've taught us to be this way.
You're exactly right. Well, they continue to do it. They continue to offer spin. They continue to let us know they're polling the country. Just last week, ladies and gentlemen, we found out, or 2 weeks ago, they were polling America to find out what extent of a mea culpa the public would support. So the cynicism, I see what she's saying, the cynicism that greets this assault is due to one thing, the White House, and the way they've treated everything for the past 7 months, actually for the past 6 years. It's only natural to be suspicious of them. It's only natural to doubt them, because sincerity has not been at the top of their list of priorities. We'll take a break. Thanks, Sharon. Don't go away, my friends. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the EIB Network.
Clean Shower addresses the dilemma that breaks up friendships. Your shower is acrylic, plastic, polystyrene, or a multi-piece wall kit. Your friends have tile showers. They use Clean Shower and you can't, until now. Now there's Clean Shower for plastic showers and glass. Just spray every day. There's no scrubbing, no wiping, no rinsing, no squeegeeing. Say goodbye to soap scum and mildew stains. Your glass doors will shine.
At the same, call AIM Electronics to find out how the tech plate and tech wiring system can make a world of difference in your home and life for many years to come. AIM Electronics, 411 East Ash Street, Goldsboro. Call 734-3221.
Attention Wayne County parents. Carver Heights Edison School still has a few spaces available for students in grades K through 4. A year-round school with an 8-hour school day. Carver Heights Edison opened on July 27th. Carver Heights provides a curriculum with high standards, greater access to technology, including computers in every classroom, and a strong character and ethics program. Students receive 90 minutes of reading and 60 minutes of math every day. To enroll your child, please stop by Carver Heights at 411 Bunch Drive, or you can call for information 919-731-5910. 919-731-5910. Don't miss out on this opportunity to enroll. 919-731-5910. Or stop by the school at 411 Bunch Drive. Find out how your child can take advantage of this exciting and free educational opportunity for Wayne County residents. 919-731-5910. 919-731-5910.
You're immersed in a business meeting across town. Your top client is sending you a confidential fax from the West Coast. Your boss has to speak to you and the vice president together before the end of the day. Oh yeah, and your teenage son got to make one call and it was to you. Where did these messages end up? One's on a Post-it note on the bottom of your receptionist's shoe. The fax is being read by the entire accounting department. Oh yeah, and your son is still holding.
With VoiceTel Personal Assistant, it could have been so easy.
Hi, this is John. You have reached my personal assistant. Press 1 to have me located, 2 to send me a voicemail, 3 to send me a fax.
VoiceTel Personal Assistant gives you a personal 800 number. You can check messages, receive faxes, make calls, and set up a conference call regardless of your location.
Good morning. I've been watching things for you. You have 2 voice messages and 2 fax messages.
VoiceTel Personal Assistant helps you put your communication in order. One number, one call, one solution.
VoiceTel, available locally by calling 1-888-554-7835.
Your show about the whole thing?
How do you want to use human beings when these missiles would do.
Well, I just don't understand why they had to drop all these bombs. I do believe that it should have been done. I have no doubt about that.
Kim, special forces to do this? This is why we've created these missiles. You can launch these things from an incredible range, so you don't put men and women of the armed forces in the line of fire. You launch these things with incredible strike force and power, and you don't put anybody at risk. I mean, it makes no sense to send in special forces when you've got the cruise missiles that'll do the job.
Yes, but that's why we created special forces. They go in and...
Is your husband in special forces?
No, my husband is not in special forces.
Your family members in special forces?
No, I have no family members in special forces. I just feel that this was just done to divert attention. I hate to feel that way.
Okay. It was done to divert attention, fine, but in terms of the way to do it, there's no better way than this. Let's not argue about that.
For a complete line of Rheem air conditioning, heating systems, and heat pumps, contact New Hope Heating and Air. Rheem air conditioners are tough and can take years of just about anything. It's easy to get a Rheem unit for your home to replace your inefficient air conditioner or heat system. Just call New Hope Heating and Air, your Rheem dealer, and start enjoying the air of quality you get from a Rheem heating, air conditioning, or heat pump unit. Call New Hope Heating and Air, a CP&L quality heat pump dealer, 778-3804.
How do you go to the beach? Of course, it depends on which beach you like. US 64 will bring you face-to-face with the Atlantic Ocean at Whalebone Junction. US 70 takes you through Morehead City to Atlantic Beach. Stay on Interstate 40 East, and you'll be at the tip of the Cape Fear in no time. Those are 3 ways to the beach. But what if you had to evacuate in the face of a hurricane? Do you know how to reach safety? Check out evacuation routes before you need them. This message brought to you by your local emergency management office at this station.
First in Wayne County. Hear what everybody's talking about. 1150 WGBR Goldsboro.
NBC Radio News. World condemnation is growing following U.S. strikes against terrorist targets in Afghanistan and Sudan. Russia called the attacks indecent. Pakistan is now retracting an earlier claim that one of the missiles mistakenly landed in its territory. Because of the outrage, reporter James Cowling in London says U.S. officials are taking security precautions abroad.
As anti-American feelings grow, officials say so do security concerns. The FBI is alerting law enforcement agencies worldwide of a possible retaliation. Washington has canceled a trip by a team of investigators from going to East Africa because of the attack, and a SWAT team will be in place in Kenya to provide added security to those investigating the bomb site.
The Dow is trading sharply lower at this hour, but economist Joe Abadi doesn't think it's because of international events.
This is more of an issue about credit quality rather than any kind of global geopolitical issue.
The Dow down 250. I'm Barbara Porter.
I use Gold Bond to prevent heat rash and chafing of tight clothing.
Jorge Silva of Gaithersburg, Maryland, talks about Gold Bond medicated powder.
In the summertime, I use double the amount of Gold Bond. It keeps you dry, keeps you cool.
Gold Bond medicated powder. Triple action Gold Bond helps prevent and relieve chafing with the absorbing action of powder, a proven medicated itch fighter, and the soothing action of zinc oxide.
Gold Bond keeps me very comfortable.
Triple action Gold Bond. More than a powder, it's medication. Use only as directed.
Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Oh. Do you have a love-hate relationship with your computer?
Windows application error. Oh, goody.
Then you need First Aid from Cybermedia. First Aid is easy-to-use software that fixes tens of thousands of computer problems automatically. For fewer crashes, more love, and less hate.
Oh, no.
First Aid, the cure for what ails your computer. Available at CompUSA.
The nation's busiest airport, Chicago's O'Hare International, also has tight security measures in place. Reporter Jim Gudas tells us domestic security just as important following the U.S. strikes in Sudan and Afghanistan.
Guards are checking bags much more thoroughly than they normally do. And because of all of that, the city and airlines are urging people heading out to Chicago's airports to give themselves plenty of extra time to catch their flights because they are expecting significant delays because of the added security procedures.
Most Americans backed the strikes at terrorist targets. 66% were in favor, according to a CNN USA Today Gallup poll. And the polls find most Americans don't think the move was designed to divert attention from the Monica Lewinsky scandal. FBI Director Louis Freeh coming back to the U.S. after visiting officials in Kenya for an update on the investigation into the 2 U.S. Embassy bombings in East Africa. Freeh cut his visit short after the U.S. dropped cruise missiles on suspected terrorist sites. Freeh won't say if evidence gathered at the bomb scenes actually led to yesterday's missile strikes. NASA confirms a fire yesterday afternoon at its Goddard Space Flight Center in Maryland damaged panels that were designed for the Hubble Space Telescope. The heat protection panels for the telescope and another spacecraft were exposed to smoke and water. The exact damage, though, has not been determined. A new survey finds marijuana use among 12 to 17-year-olds has shot up, and Health Secretary Donna Shalala says the pot smoking problem is crossing across all lines.
The trend is similar for boys and girls, for whites, for blacks, for Hispanics. It's the same in all 4 geographical areas in metropolitan and non-metropolitan areas.
And the number of kids smoking pot almost every day went up 275%. Police in Northern Ireland have released 3 of 5 men that were arrested after last weekend's car bombing in Northern Ireland. With NBC Radio News, I'm Barbara Porter.
Hi, I'm Chris Rock. Fact is, I'm shy. What does a brother have to kill to get a drink in here? Very shy. Now, what we worked out was a way for me to sit down with celebrities and get out my feelings. Can't stop saying damn. What's wrong with you, man? Just stop being so shy.
The Chris Rock Show, a whole new season. Premieres Friday night at 11:30 Eastern and Pacific, only on HBO.
Right now, I'm just really proud to be able to talk to you about this.
We want our house to have the hottest look around. Where's the best place to go for the look we want?
Looking for some answers, advice you know is true. Ask Sherwin-Williams, when only the best will do.
Come to your Sherwin-Williams store today. You'll save $4.50 a gallon on Super Paint Exterior and $5 a gallon on Super Paint Interior Paint. Plus, save $5 a gallon on Woodscape's exterior stain.
When only the best will do. Ask Sherwin-Williams.
Price sells cars at Leith of Goldsboro, now with 2 locations to serve you. Leith Chrysler Plymouth Jeep has moved to a modern facility next to Courtesy Honda on the Highway 70 bypass. During the moving sale, all 98 cars, vans, and regular cab Rams in stock. Sale priced at invoice, and you keep any and all rebates. All 98 Jeep Grand Cherokees, 4-cylinder Wranglers, and Dodge Avengers in stock. $700 below invoice, and you keep any rebate. At Leith, Price sells cars. Highway 70 bypass and Highway 70 west of Goldsboro.
Well, we should see lots of sunshine across the area once again today. A little more moisture in the upper atmosphere means we could see some wispy high clouds from time to time. Still going to be comfortably dry out today. High temperatures a little warmer than yesterday at around 84 to 89. Tonight we'll look for mostly clear skies. Might see a few patches of light fog form up late. We'll look for lows mostly in the low 60s. Then on Saturday, lots of sun once again. It'll turn a little warmer and a little more humid tomorrow with highs around 88 to 93. I'm Mike Moss at the Weather Center.
To you, the conversationalist all across the fruited plain. You are tuned to the Rush Limbaugh program on over 600 great radio stations, coast to coast. Hawaii, still at last count, had that little pirate station somewhere down near Trinidad and Tobago, broadcasting this signal. Available on satellite worldwide. The EIB network, hour number 2 is starting.
Live from New York, it's Open Line Friday!
And that means that you people have the opportunity here to get on the program, greater opportunity than you would otherwise have. Open Line Friday expands the universe of subject matter that I, as host, will entertain. Buster Snerdley standing by eagerly, screening your calls and determining your fitness to be on the program. Here's the telephone number, 1-800-282-2882. The email address is rush@eibnet.com. A couple of other things about the launch against the terrorists yesterday. There was a newspaper in Beirut. I'll do my best to pronounce this newspaper. There's an editorial that has a great quote in it. Al-Kifa al-Arabi, or Arabi. Quote, the United States closed the zipper of its president and opened the buttocks of its warships. That's in the hotline. Here we go. It's right here. I was reading it from the hotline today. Also, Dee Dee Myers was on Jay Leno recently. And I guess Jay Leno asked Dee Dee if Clinton ever hit on her. And she said, never hit on me because if he had, I would have broken his arm, and he knew it. His arm? Well, anyway, yep, I'm not making this up. I couldn't, the Al-Kifa al-Arabi newspaper in Beirut, an editorial, the United States closed the zipper of its president and opened the buttocks of its warships. Now, that's an insult to our warships. That's the last time I'm going to listen to the warships of the United States referred to as buttocks and what comes out of the buttocks by association as a descriptive term for our warships. These people think they are. These are our warships. If we're going to criticize them, it'll be us. Also, Sudanese television yesterday, we got a little treat of their live coverage. Sudanese TV's version of CNN. Now, there was a translator because the language was not English. So you will hear the Sudanese anchor and then the translator speaking over him. And this is a part of what they said in describing the U.S. president, his current crisis, and the aftermath of the bombings.
Of course, we've been following up the developments in the United States, and we know that Clinton has a problem of his own, which is his own scandalous problems. And he's a president who has more than 100 girlfriends, and he proved to the whole world that he is a liar, that he was not saying the truth, and he even admitted that he lied.
Wow, what do they know that we don't know? A president who has more than 100 girlfriends. Anyway. What? What do you mean it was on the tapes? Oh, you mean that's on the Linda Tripp tapes? Supposedly is on the Linda Tripp tapes? Well, how did the Sudanese get hold of the Linda Tripp tapes? Gee whiz, I mean, don't say that. No, Mr. Ramon, don't say. No, they didn't put him in a cab in New York City. Anyway, that's that, ladies and gentlemen. We will continue to take your phone calls about this subject and, of course, many others here today on Open Line Friday. I want to thank somebody out there in the email world for sending me the Los Angeles Times story. Now, if I could just find where I put it. Here it is. I couldn't get onto their website today, but somebody did and sent me this. Last week, President Clinton's lawyers got frustrated because they couldn't get him to devote enough time to preparing for his testimony and appearance before independent counsel Kenneth Starr. Now they know why. So what I heard last night was going to be the paper is accurate. They're now saying the president was distracted by all this, despite his remarkable ability to compartmentalize all this. There was a Fox News Opinion Dynamics poll that was published yesterday. I had it in front of me. I didn't get a chance to get to it all day. Wanted to get to it now. It's a sample of 600 registered voters. And of those 600 registered voters in this poll, 467 had heard the president's speech Monday night, And this poll is reported with a margin of error of plus or minus 4 percentage points. The poll was conducted on Tuesday night, the day following the president's speech. You got to love these questions from the Fox News Opinion Dynamics poll. Question 1. Do you think President Clinton is more sorry for his family or more sorry that he got caught? 56% say sorry he got caught, 25% sorry for his family. President Clinton never actually said he was sorry, nor did he apologize in the speech. Do you think he should explicitly apologize to the American people? 50% said yes, 44% said no. Do you believe the president told the whole truth to the American people in his speech Monday night? Yes, 25%, no, 65%. Do you think President Clinton has learned his lesson and will be completely faithful to his wife, or will he continue to have extramarital affairs in the future? 26% say he will be completely faithful, may have other affairs, 53%. And I guess we'd have to count the Sudanese on this poll as well. Republican leaders and many other lawmakers gave their quick and full support to President Clinton's decision to attack sites in Afghanistan and Sudan on Thursday. Senate Majority Leader Trent Lott, our response appears to be appropriate and just. Jesse Helms said the attacks were clearly designed to strike at the heart of a terrorist network that has the blood of American citizens on its hands. Dan Coates, there is a dark cloud of doubt hanging over every further action. I'm not saying that force is not appropriate. I'm questioning the timing. Senator Arlen Specter, chairman of the Senate Veterans Affairs Committee, also said it was well known what the president's collateral problems are. He quoted from news reports speculating that Clinton needed to do something presidential and questioned why Clinton was making a dramatic trip back to Washington rather than summoning senior staff officials to his vacation home at Martha's Vineyard. And, you know, that is a good question. If you're just joining us, ladies and gentlemen, I'm really sorry you missed our first hour because you heard an analysis of our attacks that I'm sure you will not hear anywhere else, which is the beauty of this program, the beauty of me as host. You don't hear what I say anywhere else in terms of insight and wisdom. Well, you do later on after other people pick up on it. But the one of the many points I raised was that it really isn't any of our business, this whole terrorist strike. And I even seriously considered, before I started the program today, taking no calls on this because it's none of our business. Because he conducted the launch on vacation, which is his private time. He was on vacation with his family. What he does in his private time is different from what he does when he's governing and working. And what he does in his private time, we've been told, we've learned this from the liberal defenders of the president, none of our business. And so, technically, this strike is none of our business. And so when Senator Specter says, why didn't he just bring those guys up there, that would have been because then we couldn't have questioned them because they would have been with Clinton during his private time. And what they do with Clinton during his private time makes it their private time, makes it none of our business. And thereby, these guys wouldn't have had to do their briefings and wouldn't have had to answer any questions. By the way, did any of you, Marie, did you happen to see, after the president's 5:30 speech from the Oval Bedroom yesterday, did you happen to see the briefing that was given by Sandy Berger and Madeleine Albright? You see, I'll tell you what, did you see any of it, Buster? As I got to tell you something, folks. Sandy Berger looked like he didn't know what he was doing. But I don't want this to sound cutting, Mr. Berger. I don't intend it that way at all. My point is that he was stuttering and fumbling around, and he didn't seem sure of himself in his answers, which I think if anybody saw it, it leads to further suspicion. And we were told that the president launched this with unanimity of his national security staff. And Berger was the antithesis of decisive yesterday. Albright was not. Madeleine Albright put her foot down. She was doing the stomp yesterday. By the way, grab that new tune, Mr. Mamone, have it handy, called Doubt. I'm going to have that tune standing by. Other members of Congress and their reaction. In fact, let me let you hear Biden. Grab Biden. That's the last thing. It's number 4. You got that ready to go? Yep. Listen to Joe Biden now. Now, he was, well, this is self-explanatory.
I think that's bullshit. I think that's malarkey. I think that's absolute crap. I think it's pure politics.
Yeah, he was responding to the wag the dog question. We didn't say the whole word. We were very, very professional and quick at it. We let it, I mean, there's no mistaking what he said, but you can't say that we aired what he said. Play it again, Mr. Mamone, and I'll prove the point. Let me know when it recues. Just hit the speed cue there. Our highly advanced, is it ready to go? It's not ready to go yet. I want you to listen to it. It's ready to go. I want you to listen to this. Now, there's a precise edit. Don't think that, with all this talk about, intern-assisted masturbation and all that, a lot of people are questioning, gee, Rush, I don't even know I can let my kid listen to your show anymore. I can't help it, folks. What's in the news is in the news. Well, we edited here Biden's comments. He was asked, do you think that it's politically motivated, anything here along the lines of the movie Wag the Dog?
I think that's bullshit. I think that's malarkey. I think that's absolute crap. I think it's pure politics.
Okay, so just let you know, you might have thought you heard it, but you didn't. We edited that syllable out of there. Because we care. We care about the kids of America. We care about the words that Democrats... It's amazing that the vocabulary additions that have occurred in common discourse that have been brought about by prominent Democrats, the president, now Senator Biden. We did what we could to convey what he said without actually having that word out there here in the middle of the day. Other reaction, Porter Goss, Republican from Florida, member of the House. In fact, Porter Goss chairs the House Intelligence Committee. He called this action long overdue. Senator John McCain said he regretted there wasn't more consultation with Congress before the attacks, but on the question of the timing said, I believe the president acted in the interests of protecting American lives and property and responding to acts of terror. I will not assume any other reason unless I have evidence to prove it. Lee Hamilton, Democrat, Indiana, said he had been briefed by Madeleine Albright and Sandy Berger after the attack. Said the U.S. had now entered a more aggressive phase, a phase that'll strike preemptively at targets in the future. Newt Gingrich, I have a message for the news media.
It's back-to-school savings time at Barnes Jewelers on Eastgate Drive. Keep your student on time for class with a Citizen, Pulsar, or Seiko watch from Barnes Jewelers. They have a huge selection, or a beautiful pen and pencil set to help with homework or taking class notes. Barnes Jewelers does have beautiful diamond and gold jewelry and a complete repair department. Barnes Jewelers on Eastgate Drive.
Special people, give something special from Barnes Jewelers.
Hello, folks. It's me again, Keith Murray, owner and general manager of Keith Murray's Toyota Goldsboro. Folks, while we've only been here in Goldsboro 6 months, I've been in the Toyota business for over 20 years. When I came here and bought this store, I handpicked all of our managers, and like myself, they were all born and raised here in eastern North Carolina. At Keith Murray's Toyota Goldsboro, we believe that every person would rather have a nicer car than the one they're driving. If you're making payments on a 2, 3, or 4-year-old car, here at Keith Murray's Toyota Goldsboro, most times we can trade you out of that old car and into a new car for about the same payment you're already making. Now, who wouldn't trade an old car for a new car for the same payment? Here at Keith Murray's Toyota Goldsboro, we always treat our customers the way we would want to be treated. No high pressure, no gimmicks, no screaming commercials. Folks, here at Keith Murray's Toyota Goldsboro, our customers always leave happy. Come see us at Keith Murray's Toyota Goldsboro, where you can rest assured you'll always be treated fairly. That's my promise. I'm Keith Murray, and I'll guarantee it.
This is from a home video of Brendan Monez playing on a swing.
I can pump high now. Mama, look how high I'm still going. Yeah. I can pump high.
Not long after this was taped, Brendan was killed by a drunk driver.
Very high. I'm going as high as I was before.
Get the keys. Friends don't let friends drive drunk. A public service message brought to you by the Department of Transportation, the Ad Council, and this station.
Slowing now, little tiny bit.
Always able to create sumptuous, delicious specials like Friday's new Chop House Classics. These great new entrees are based on those famous old Chicago-style Chop House dinners, served on cast-iron platters still sizzling hot from the grill. You get a filet mignon so tender you can practically cut it with a fork. and thick-cut pork chops that almost melt in your mouth. Now, there are 4 delicious new entrees in all, served with Chop House-style au gratin potatoes and grilled veggies. Friday's new Chop House Classics. Now, if your week seems like it's all Tuesdays or Wednesdays, put an end to it and have a Friday. You listeners to the EIB network deserve an extra Friday. You can get it at TGI Fridays any day of the week. You know what they say, in here it's always Friday.
Don't crash, don't crash, don't crash. Oh. Do you have a love-hate relationship with your computer?
Windows application error. Oh, goody.
Then you need First Aid from Cyber Media. First Aid is easy-to-use software that fixes tens of thousands of computer problems automatically for fewer crashes, more love, and less hate.
Oh, no.
First Aid, the cure for what ails your computer. Available at OfficeMax.
In some cultures, boys endure dangerous rituals to prove they're ready for adult responsibilities.
Swing harder, Uri.
In Transylvania, young men hold a cinder block on their chest and get a friend to smash it with a sledgehammer.
Oh, that's smart.
In Spain, men run before angry bulls to show their machismo.
Help! Help! Nice bull. Help!
And in New Guinea,
Boy, that sure is a long way to...
men jump from towers with nothing but a vine tied to their ankles to keep them from hitting the ground.
Hey, don't push! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Thankfully, proving you're a responsible adult here in America is much easier. Just go to a post office and register with Selective Service when you turn 18. When you do, you remain eligible for most federal jobs, job training, and student loans. And that shows that you're thinking like an adult. So register with Selective Service. It's quick, it's easy, and it's the law. Best of all, you won't have to do this.
Whoa, 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 whoa!
But anyway, what I wanted to talk about briefly was
sweeping the country, and it's got people hiding in their basements, cellars, ditches, anywhere they can escape the whirling vortex of lies, double talk, and tax increases that is the Clinton presidency.
You never know where he's coming from. That's what makes him so scary.
Steven Spenberg presents Twister.
Where's Jim? Never saw it coming. Sucked him right in. Was it the minimum wage thing? Yeah. Damn it!
Bill Clinton is a high-pressure system accompanied by a smaller group of spin doctors that can suck you in if you're not careful. Hide your children, your savings, and your checkbook from Twister.
Right wing! Left wing! Right wing! Which way is this thing coming from?
Bill Clinton is the Twister.
Where's my paycheck?
This is not a watch or a warning. It's here now, and only you can make it go away.
Open Line Friday continues. Rush Limbaugh, an excellent role model for the youth of America, proudly utilizing talent on loan from God. In the flawless execution of my real radio announcer duties as a highly trained broadcast specialist, Neil Travis, a columnist in the New York Post, is reporting in today's editions that the neighbors of Gerald Ford in Beaver Creek, Colorado, out in the Vail area, insist that Al Gore stopped off on his way to Hawaii to visit for 3 hours with the former president, Gerald Ford, presumably to talk about how Ford, as vice president, handled Richard Nixon's resignation. A spokeswoman for the vice president says that, to her knowledge, Gore's plane made only one stop on the way to Hawaii, and that would be in Los Angeles. But they've also told us that Gore never knew that he was going to be going to the Buddhist temple and converting and laundering money. Thought it was a social, a community outreach plan. He didn't even know it was a fundraiser. Remember that? These people, I'll tell you what, my friends, you can't trust any of them in this administration. It really, when you get down to brass tacks, the whole reason that there is cynicism about this launch, the whole reason there's cynicism about this attack, this bunch, the truth is the last thing they care to get. They're more interested in spin. You have to parse every sentence these people utter to try to find your way to the truth. Now, what about this? Now, Admit it, you got the neighbors of Gerald Ford and Beaver Creek, Colorado. And I've been to Beaver Creek. I've been out there. I can envision the neighbor. In fact, I've been shown where Gerald Ford lives. There are neighbors there. Neighbors, if they're eager beaver, if they're nosies, you can see who's going in and out of there. Neighbors are insisting that Al Gore stopped off on his way to Hawaii to visit with Gerald Ford. So people say, what would Al Gore be stopping to see Gerald Ford for? So that's why Mr. Travis puts the word presumably in here. To talk to Gerald Ford about how'd you deal with the pardon issue. Of course, Al Gore's office denies it, but what else have they denied that turned out to be true? Here is Don in Newport, Rhode Island. Don, welcome to the program. Glad you called.
Hey, Rush, Naval War College, cigar smoking dittos to you.
Thank you very much. What's your favorite stogie?
Well, I'm a Garcia Vega smoker because they're inexpensive and they're a good smoke.
Yeah, they are a good smoke.
Well, I can't afford the Monte Friscos or whatever they are, so I have to go for the cheap stuff, but rest assured they're good.
The Monte Friscos, okay.
Well, whatever they're called. You know, I'm in the age bracket or anything where I can afford the big ones yet, but I'll get there eventually.
All right.
Well, the reason why I was calling you, Rush, is I wanted to talk to you about the timing of the attack. You had mentioned that we knew something about who had done the embassy bombing 3 days after it occurred. And what I wanted to do, I'm a naval officer and surface warfare guy, and my specialty is Tomahawk and things like that. And without divulging too many secrets...
Wait, Tomahawk, for you people who don't know, is the cruise missile that was launched yesterday, cruise missiles.
That's correct. Well, the thing is, it takes...
Wait a minute. Are you one of the people that fires, that presses the fire button?
I'm the guy that turns the key and gives the order to fire, usually.
There you go. We got one. All right.
I hate to tell you, I'm white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, so, you know, I'm not representative of our country, but...
Okay, well...
Well, the point I wanted to make, though, is I don't believe that this is a wag-the-dog type attack, mainly because even though we knew so soon afterward who did the bombing, it takes a great deal of time to actually figure out where the targets are, correlate them to latitudes and longitudes, and reload the computer tapes and get those out to the ships. And then you have to run practice missions and things like that. So it takes time. So from that standpoint, I can tell you that the attack, the turnaround on it was actually quite fast. And all of us are pleased with the accuracy, obviously. However, I have to admit that I and my fellow students at the War College today were discussing this, and even though we know for a fact, especially with the professionalism of General Shelton and our SecDef, all of us at one point crossed our mind that this could have been a wag-the-dog situation, which is, you know, I think it speaks sadly for the presidency when you have professional officers doing that.
That's exactly right. Hey, forget wag the dog. Just say political. Well, let me remind you of a D.D. Myers comment again when we come back. Thanks.
Tony Conza, founder of Blimpie Subs and Salads.
Tony, tuna sandwich here. Me and the other Blimpie sandwiches got together and we think you've been playing favorites.
What?
You've been calling a certain sandwich the best for years. What does that make us?
Oh, you mean the Blimpie Best. That's just a name. Sure, it's got prosciutto, capicola, salami, ham, provolone.
It's time for a look at local news. I'm Thomas Vick on 1150 WGBR. More news regarding the Neuse River. A second House committee taking a final look at rules that would govern woodland buffers along the river and its tributaries. House leaders say a few changes must be made before they give their approval. The current legislation proposes to loosen current rules that require a 30-foot wide woodland buffer be maintained along all the streams that form the Neuse River Basin in an effort to reduce nitrogen runoff. Among the changes the House is looking to make provide exemptions for property owners along streams that do not flow all year long if they drained less than 25 acres. Republicans have sought changes to the current rules for some time now because they say the laws now in place are hard to enforce and interpret. A slow day of sales on the Goldsboro tobacco market yesterday, capping off what local warehouse owners call a slow week. Yesterday, the market sold 403,874 pounds. Total revenue on the market for the day, $669,296.36. Yesterday's average closed at $165.72 per 100 pounds. For the week, the market sold 2.1 million pounds, with weekly revenues hitting the $3.5 million mark. The seasonal daily average is now at $161.34 per 100 pounds. Groundbreaking for the new Spring Creek Elementary School. Ceremonies for the new $7.8 million facility were held yesterday. The new school will be built just off St. John's Church Road. A design meeting for the new proposed Highway 117 North. It's coming up next Tuesday night as State Secretary Norris Tolson will visit Wayne County to meet with residents about the new project. The meeting will be held at the Wayne Community College Learning Center. Questions have been raised about the widening of the corridor from a 4-lane road to a limited access freeway. The meeting was organized by Dr. Bill Plummer and James Crone, both who live on Salem Church Road. While student enrollment continues to climb in Wayne County Public Schools, school administration is providing some temporary help at Norwayne Middle School to help relieve overcrowding. They're sending 2 mobile classrooms to the school's campus. School administration says a mobile classroom possibly will go to Northwest Elementary School and Grantham School within the next 2 weeks. That's a look at local news. I'm Thomas Vick on 1150 WGBR.
Well, an area of high pressure up to our north continues to slide southward into the region today. That's going to give us lots of sunshine once again, although we may see a few filmy high clouds in the upper atmosphere. Still going to be comfortably dry out today with highs around 84 to 89. Tonight we'll look for mostly clear skies, calm overnight with a few patches of light fog here and there. Lows will drop mainly into the low 60s. Then on Saturday, should see more sun than clouds again. A little warmer tomorrow with highs up to 88 to 93. I'm Mike Moss at the North Carolina News Network Weather Center.
On the weekend.
Tonight's Late Show feature presentation now continues.
Play as time goes by.
Oh, I can't remember it myself.
I'll hum it for you.
Give me a note here. It's Open Line Friday. We are back at 1-800-282-2882, and our email address is rush@eibnet.com. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm in the process here of reading a story from the Washington Post today, their early edition. Strikes were contemplated and planned for almost 2 weeks. And if you read this closely, it looks as if the strike was integrated into the scandal plan as well. And I'm now debating whether I should read. It's 3 typewritten pages, not large and not single-spaced, but I'm about to read. I think I will. I got to read the whole thing to you here in a second and let you decide for yourself, because it is in the Washington Post anyway, and you can read it on their website if you want to go to it. The headline of the story is "Strikes Were Contemplated, Planned for Almost 2 Weeks." Here is Alan in Washington, D.C. Alan, welcome to the program. Good to have you with us.
Hey, Rush. Dittos from D.C.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have 2 points. First, of course, the timing. I think that the strikes were rather hasty, actually. If you look back at the Reagan bombing, when there was a bombing in Germany, and then Ronald Reagan went over and bombed Libya for it, there was a much more deliberative process where the administration gathered the evidence as to who did the bombing and put it together in such a way that they could present that to anybody who asked, to say, yes, these people did the bombing, and now we're going to go retaliate. And there were months between the actual bombing and our retaliation, whereas here, the bombings only happened just a few weeks ago, and just a couple days after that, while he was campaigning, he got out of campaigning a little bit to start preparing for this. But it seems that, it was kind of an afterthought. Here he's campaigning, okay, now he's going to go plan to bomb somebody, okay, here he's going to go do his testimony, oh, no, he's got to go bomb somebody. There was a much more deliberative process. Also, the consultation with Congress. When Reagan went and did his, as far as I can remember, he went...
Did what?
When Reagan bombed Libya for the terrorist attack against the Americans in Germany,
mm-hmm.
The way I understand it, he took the evidence that they had gathered, and he presented this evidence to Congress to show them this is what we're going to do and this is why.
Mm-hmm.
And then he also went and he consulted with the allies,
mm-hmm.
the different countries, saying, here is what we're going to do and this is why. and then we went and did it. Okay. Now here it seems that it seems extremely hasty. You know, here a couple weeks ago there's a bombing. A couple of days after that, he's made the decision. Hey, I'm going to go bomb somebody, and then he just does it without really consulting anybody. And the second point kind of goes off the first. We bombed 2 sovereign countries, whether we like the countries or not. We sent missiles into the capital of Sudan to bomb a chemical plant. You know, how would we feel here in the States if another country says, hey, you know, we think that this chemical was made at this plant over in D.C., we're going to go bomb it.
I hate to tell you, but it's happened. It is, I mean, this is the point. It is happening. We had some terrorists. You can get into this country. They can bring the bomb in. All they got to do is arrive at JFK and say they're seeking political asylum. Oh, okay. Well, you get back to us here in a month. Let us know where you are. And it's the last anybody ever sees of them. And they blow up the World Trade Center. It's happening. Now, as to the president's responsibility to tell Congress, don't quote me on this, but I think in a situation like this, he's not required to. He didn't send troops. I think that there is an allowance for this kind of action without congressional consultation. Well, obviously there is. Somebody be out there. They can complain that they weren't consulted, but there's nothing. I don't think there's any violation of law here. And frankly, if the Sudanese and the Afghanis are going to harbor these people, and we've told them, you harbor these people and you're at risk, and I'm certain we've told them that. They've been warned. I do think it's time to stop playing pussyfoot with terrorists. I do think it's time to stop acting defensive about them, toward them and around them. So, I don't know. I don't have any problem with surprise attacks either. And I'll tell you that you go blabbing to some members of Congress, Republicans and Democrats alike, pretty soon, this is an election year, if you go blab to these guys, there's going to be one, you just know there's going to be one, because all the members of the House are up for election. They're going to call a press conference, say, I have just learned that blah, 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 and I want to blow the whole thing. I don't really have a problem with a strike like this. And the way, and especially the targets here, the way it was handled. Not at all. Alan, I'm glad you called. Thanks very much. Let me give you the highlights here of this Washington Post story. 9 days ago, and the story is written by John Harris. 9 days ago, President Clinton flew overnight from a political trip in California for a White House meeting at which his national security team laid out planning for a military attack against a terrorist network linked to Osama bin Laden. The next day, Clinton sent word to some of his advisors that he had decided, after months of stalling, that he had no choice but to address the nation about his extramarital relationship with Monica Lewinsky. 9 days ago, flies overnight for a White House meeting with his national security team. They laid out planning a military attack against the terrorist network. The very next day, Clinton sends word to some of his advisors that he's decided, after months of stalling, that he had no choice but to address the nation about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky. The day after that, last Friday, he met again with the security team and gave approval for yesterday's retaliatory airstrikes in Afghanistan and Sudan. Then, he spent the weekend closeted in the White House preparing to meet with prosecutors for queries into his sex life. There's a lot more than that queried, by the way. On Monday, before his meeting with prosecutors about Lewinsky and his televised speech that night, there were a series of discussions with advisors about preparations for the strike. On Tuesday, the president flew to Martha's Vineyard for what aides said would be 2 weeks of healing time with his family. All the while, he and a small number of national security officials knew the truth. Clinton planned to return soon to Washington so he could speak again to the nation, this time from the Oval Bedroom, about the U.S. military action he had ordered to avenge the August 7th embassy bombings in Kenya and Tanzania. And so it went for nearly 2 weeks, several close presidential advisors said Wednesday, as Clinton's schedule and thoughts hurtled back and forth between two crises of a very different nature. Even as Clinton was preparing to acknowledge a difficult truth about one secret in his private life, he was harboring another secret dealing with the most difficult responsibility of his private life. It says here public, but he's going to launch these things while on vacation. It's private life. I still maintain that. The White House yesterday asserted that Clinton's decision to bomb suspected terrorist installations was in no way linked to or affected by the Lewinsky controversy.